Okay, the first thing that we need to do is actually install the openpyxl. How are we going to do that? Okay, this is a library in Python where you don't need a long line of codes just to manipulate the Excel file. First thing that you need to do is you type here pip install and then openpyxl. And if you are using a laptop or PC, but for the other IDEs, if you are using an online, this is actually already added. But if you are using a laptop or PC, you have to manually install it because by default this is not added. Now in my case, I already had installed it. You noticed here it will appear already satisfied because I already installed it. And you can only use this command pip install if you're done setting up your Windows environment during the first week of our classes. Even in your lecture 2 on Python basics, it's already there as well on how to set up your Windows environment. Now assuming that you're done installing this openpyxl, and I'll just close this one, you will know if it is what you call this one working from here when you run the like this import openpyxl. There will be no error, so it means that it is successfully installed. So what is the advantage of using this library? Well, shorter code, and you can manipulate your Excel file using the Python. Right, now what are the special commands in using this? One is load workbook. Okay, so this is a special function in Python which is already added in the openpyxl. So inside this parenthesis, this is where you put the path of your file. Okay, either it's in drive D or in drive C, you have to specify. And now if your file is saved, okay, if your file is saved within the same folder, you don't need to put the path. Instead, you can just simply type in the file here, example sample.xlsx. So that's the file name. But if in case that you save the program into another program, folder, then you have to specify the path. Whether it's in drive C, you have to put including the subdirectory. Okay, now another command that you can also use here in what you call this one, instead this load workbook is used to open the existing file. So in our example, we have the sample, so this is an existing. Okay, another way to use a command for this to open would be openpyxl.workbook. Okay, this one, openpyxl. But this time it will be workbook, uppercase W. Okay, but you don't need to put here the path, but you can also use this command. Let's say you have the option to put the variable here like that, assign WB to open an existing workbook. And another thing that you also need to check, like sample like that, you have to identify the sheet, which one is active, since Excel includes some sheets and cells. You put here sheet equals, then you're going to refer into this one, WB, then put here active. So it means that you are referring to the active sheet. Now when you enter Yeah. So when you enter, next thing that you need to do, okay, good afternoon. Okay, what is the next thing that you need to do for this? Well, determine what you want to put into your Excel. Let's say sheet, and then inside the bracket, this is, you have to identify which row and column. So for that case, let's say you input in the column A, and then row 1, and what is the value that you want to put here. Let's say if it is a number, you can just put 95, and then let's say I'm going to add another one, A2, means in the column A under row 2, I'm going to put here, let's say this is mathematics. Okay, you can also combine with that. Now in the sheet 3, A3, you can also add another one, let's say 96. Now the next thing that we're going to do is save this information into our file. Okay, example wb.save. So wb here referring to this one. Let's try to open the workbook. Okay, now you have to specify also the specific, what they call this one, file name, and just put here the name of your file. Let's say sample score.xlsx, means that this one will be stored or saved into this file. It will create a file called sample score XLS. Now this time, if I'm going to run this will create, okay, like that. It will be stored into the directory, the Python. Say in the Python, let's say where's the CMD. Okay, if we're going to look for the file directory Python, let me find where's the file location. Okay, oh, it's not this one. I think in the local, say update, the local dir. Okay, let me find, because we're doing this manually, if in case that you want inside the programs. Okay, cd programs, there again, and then you can cd python. Let's double check. cd python 310. Let's try to double check. So if there are files, so if you can see it from here, the one that we created here, sample score.xlsx. So this is the file, okay, that we just created, and it contains 4805. And if we're going to locate that into our folder, let me double check. Okay, users, HP, and since it's in the local or up data, I'm going to locate it from here. Up data, this one, so we can see it local, and then programs, okay, and then Python. Okay, hold on for me, let me accept this one, 310, because this is the version, the one that every time that we use in the Python shell, it will be stored in here. Okay, this one, oh no, not this one, this is the one that we created. Okay, based in our program, where is that? Did I? No, in the Python shell. So this is the one that we created using the Python shell. So it also said in here. Now if I'm going to open up this openpyxl, there you are. Based on our command that we used, based here in a Python shell, there you are, 95, and the A1, A2, mathematics, A3, 96, and we save it, and the file name that we created is sample score. So this is also the same process when you create a new file. Okay, all you need to do, just do the same. Okay, example, we're going to type here import openpyxl, like that. And you can also create a variable name. I will just copy this one. Okay, so I don't need to retype it. And let's see, let me finish it. And then let's say this time I'm going to save this as 1. Okay, or like that. And I'm going to put this into A4 example. This is A5 and this is A6. Let's try to run this, but first we need to save. And this file name sample Excel. Okay, I'll just save it. Okay, if we're going to run, if you notice, there is no message, but actually it's successful, unless you will put here successfully save. But if you're going to locate this file sample score 1, okay, let's open. There you are. I'm going to open it, the one we just created. Where is it? There you are, 4, 5, 6. Okay, simple as that one. And if in case that you want to edit this, let's say this is Filipino, and if you will run it while the Excel is open, you will get an error. For this will be the error, permission denied. You need to close this one first. Okay, you need to close this one first. Don't save. Okay, based on our example. Okay, now do you have question on this one before I continue? On this example, we created a file name using the openpyxl library, and we put this into the Excel sheet. First, we need to use this workbook. Other way to write it for this can be this way. Other option to write it. Let me hide this one. Other way to write this from here. Okay, let me hide this. Other way, you can also say from openpyxl import workbook, and below you can also say WB. WB is just a variable name, but the special function of openpyxl is this one, workbook. You just simply put here and then open close parenthesis. So this is also working, and it can also create another file name. Okay, so the uppercase, look, that's another solution. Now the other one is opening from the existing. Okay, what does it mean? We're going to open an existing file. How can we do that? Example. Okay, no, not open, so I mean new. We're going to create a new one. From here, I'll just copy this part we're going to import called load workbook. So it means that we're going to use this special function in Pad so that it can open the existing file. Now here, let's say I'm going to put here wb, then call in this function like that, and then inside this parenthesis, this is where you're going to put the path. Okay, you're going to open the existing file. Let's say I have here, let me see, desktop. Okay, let me locate in the Python. Desktop Python, not this one. Did I correct it? XLS. Alright, here I have a called demo file, or maybe I can just create a new one. Let's say a new file. I'll call this sample demo. Okay, so it means this one is a empty file, and we will try to open this file or access this file and then save also to this file. Now to get the path, click on here. So I copy this path, then put it here inside. Now since we're going to read this one, there's a command called R. Put here a single space and then at the end, so that it will try to read this file called, what's the file name that we just created, which is sample demo. Do we have it here? Okay, this one, sample demo. Okay, this is one, so this is blank. Using this command load workbook, we're going to read this file, and what we're going to do in here, first of course we need to set which referring to the active sheet. Okay, and we call in here, the workbook referring to this file as the active sheet. Now what we want to do, we want to put a description. Let's say where in the sheet and which row and column. Let's say I'm going to put it in the first column A, and then row 1. What would be the information that I'm going to put there? Let's say I'm going to put CS221 algorithms and complexity. Okay, so this is the information that we want to put into sheet. Now another way, instead of using this format A1, B1, D1 or D4, another way to use it is using this format, this command, sheet dot cell. Then here you need to specify the row number. Okay, let's say I want to put the information in the row 2, then comma, and then which column do you want to put it? Example, I'm going to put it in column 2 instead of using, let's say, a specific column name. Then what do you want to put here? Add the command called that value, and inside here, this is where you're going to put the information. Let's say if it is a combination of text and number, you have to always enclose it in a double quote. Let's say this is schedule second year, okay, A, like A, like that. That's the information that we want to add. Now the next thing that we're going to do is save the file using this command referring to this one. Where do you want to save it? So we will call this variable, then partner it with a command called save. Then inside the parenthesis, where do you want to save it? Example, we want to save it into the sample demo. So you just simply copy this one and put it inside the parentheses. Now let's say I'm going to add here a message: successfully saved, like that, so that you have the information. Alright, this is just a very simple program. Now what I'm going to do, let's try to run. Assuming I'm going to save first this in this directory, Python 3.10. Okay, Excel 2. Now let's try to run. There you are. So this is now the message. So although our program is actually saved inside this directory, okay, if you're going to put here Excel, what's the file name that we just created? Where is it? Excel. Okay, hold on. Where's the Excel 2? So the file name is sample demo. Okay, and the sample demo, let's try to locate it here. But it is not inside here. Only the file name Excel2py. This one, Excel2py. Our program is saved under this folder, but then we created a file where we can put this information into another file directory, which is under the XLS folder. Now we're going to locate this file sample demo, which is actually in here. Okay, XL demo, sample demo, it is created. Let's try to check if it is in here. Sample demo, I hope it's here. There you are, sample demo. Okay, we're going to check whether this information, CS221 complexity, in the column A1, and then in the next row and column we have this information. Let's try to open this and open with the Excel file. There you are. So this one is working. Okay, that's the information that we got. Are you still there?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Were you able to follow?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now do you have question?
None so far, ma'am.
Okay, so next that we're going to try, let's say, is it possible if I can merge the Excel file, or I can unmerge the file, or I can also put some styling on my title example here? Would that be possible? So what would be the command if we're going to do that? Do you have any
Try
idea?
command lang para mag-change ng point style.
Okay, what would be the command? What is the command?
Forgot about it, ma'am.
You forgot about it? Okay. How about the other?
Pero I have that one.
You can remember if you can see it. Actually, on this
Yes,
part,
ma'am.
on this short example, the CS221, we're going to increase the font size. So by default, this is just 11, right? Now, what we're going to do, we will try to change the font. Well, all you need to do, just type in here sheet the cell, then you're going to specify which row and column that you want to add styling. So in this case, let's say I'm going to specify this one, the A1. So therefore it is in row 1 and column 1. So for this case, I can put row 1, column equals to 1, then followed by font, dot font, and uppercase font. Then you're going to specify the size. Let's say the size is 30. Okay, now if we're going to run this program, we will get an error because it will look for the font. Okay, so this is also a special command in the openpyxl style that we need to import as well. So if we run this, let's try to run this one first. Oops, it's open. Since this one is open, that's why I don't save yet. Okay, the font here is not defined. So what we're going to do from here, instead of doing this option, you can also say import. I can type here from openpyxl styles dot styles, then import font. Okay, let's try to run this one first. If we still get an error, there you are. So it's successful. Now it's working. So let's try to check if it increases the font size. There you are. It's 30. Okay. And if in case that you want to change the style, I mean, what do you call this one? The name of the font in here. Let's say I'm going to use Book Antica. Okay, I'm going to replace this since this is Calibri, and I will try to change that into Book Antica. So how are we going to do that? Either you can create here or you just simply add in here called name. What's the name of the font? Okay, here you can say Book Antica. So I get this correct spelling and save it, then run. So save. It's now successful. Okay, here. So let me try to open it. Excel. There you are. So the font now changes to this one. Okay. So that's how you're going to, add some ways to put styling on your code. I mean, in your Excel file. What am I saying? Code. Okay. How about if we're going to make it bold? All you need to do, just simply add in here. Let's say set bold, then you can true. Make sure that it's an upper T. Then when it's bold, then it will make this word into bold. Okay. All you need to do, just follow this format. Now, how about if I want to merge? Okay, let's say I have the existing cell. Let's say here in sample demo, I want to merge this one from A1 to J. Okay, I want to merge this one through Python. What you're going to do, just simply type here, okay, shift dot merge underscore cells. So here you need to specify from what. Okay, this A1 to, is it J1? If I can remember, J1. Okay, let's try to check. Okay, let's run. So it's now successful. And let's try to open the file again. Sample demo. Open web. There you are. It's merged now. And it is also set to bold because we put the bold into true. Okay? You able to follow?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have
Yes,
question?
ma'am.
Do you have question?
How about ma'am sa column? Pag emerge ma'am sa second row, kibali ma'am.
Second row, you mean
Kaya apil kibali.
this one going downward.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So we will try this one. B2 to B3. Okay. Let's for that case, I'll just copy this. And this is B2. What's the other one? B3, right? B3. Okay, let's try to run this one. Successful. So it is successful. And let's try to open the Excel file again. Demo. And open. There you are. So it's working. You just have to specify what you call this one. Now, how about if your question, is it possible also to, put here like using a for information. Let's say B4, B2, I'm going to put in label in here in the B4, C4, D4 using a for loops. Okay. Then the information that we want to indicate, let's say, I will just edit this program. Okay, let's use this. Okay, since it's already merged, okay, for now we can just hide this. Oops, sorry. I'll just hide this one for the meantime. Okay, what we're going to do, let's say we have a variable name called data. Then inside here, we need to put the score. Okay, so let's say in the first one would be the score 10. Say this is 15, this is 20, and this is 8. So this is the score. Then comma, and the next set would be the name of the person or the student. Let's say I'm going to put here Harry. This is Harry, and next for John. Then next I'm going to call this one as Jim. Then next is Chanda. Alright, so what will happen here, this 10 will be under Harry, 15 for John, 20 for Jim, and 8 for Chanda. Okay, the way we're going to assign this is using the for loops. So we just simply type in for. Let's say I'm going to call this variable as a row. You can use any variable name here. In data, referring to this one, data. Okay, colon. Then I'm going to call in the sheet. Then apply the command called append. What do you want to append? The row, so that it can be listed. This one, I'll call in the row. And then next is we're going to save it. Of course, we're going to save it in the demo. But in this scenario, since we didn't specify the row, let's try to find out first with whether it will be added in the next line. Okay, because what will happen here, run. Okay, successfully saved. Now let's try to open. penalties here, you just go into the next line, just other lapping. Okay, so for that case, it just other lap the second year because it starts on the first row. Well, for that case, you can actually specify a spacing. In that case, what do you think would be the best option for this one for us to append the data? Now,
By index, ma'am? Pwede by index?
It can be. It's an option, but because we already specify here in the row. Actually, that's the thing that you're going to discover as part of your exploration, that I want you to explore first. How can you adjust, although even if we're not going, let's say I'm going to remove this one again. Okay, save it. It's okay if we're not going to add this option. Let's say I'm going to hide this one. Okay, let's try to run again. So, successfully save. Oops, we have limited time already. There you are, see? There's underlapping in here. Automatically, it would be added into the next line. It does not add up in the first line. Okay, that's the other option. You can also apply what they call this one, styling. Putting a bold if you want to make this one bold. Okay, but if in case that you want to put Harry on top, then you just replace the value here instead. Where is it, my file? Excel 2. Okay, you just replace it here instead, like that. Let's try to put here. And then it can now replace. You just have to play with that one, okay, to explore. That's another option. Okay, another thing that I'd like to show to you is, okay, I'm done with the styling. Hold on, I forgot the file. Let's say, where is it, my file? Hold on, where is it? Okay, height. You want to add, let's say I'm going to create a new one. In Excel, normally if you have some scores in here, let's say this is 10, this is 30, 40, etc., and you will put here the sum of this one. Okay, now for that scenario, what we need to do is you have to apply the summation format. Okay, for this case, let's say this is blank, and I'm going to put the information in the B6. Okay, assuming I'm going to add here in the B6, 7, 8, 9, and then on this part we're going to add the total score, or let's say 11 total in here, total score. This part we're going to add in here. Okay, let's do that using a program. Let me save this one first and save this, the blank B6. Okay, in our code, well, first you can also type this way. I'll just copy the previous one. I don't need to type again. Okay, active. Then let's say in the sheet, I'll just copy also the previous one. Sheet, no. Let's say this is A1 and the value of this is 2000. Oops, why did I put here 2000? The value of this 2000, and I'm going to add, let's say A2. This is 21. Then we're not going to put what this should be B6, right? B6. Now my mistake, this is B7, B8, and B9. Then copy. This is 10. Okay, let's say this is 3,500. Now in the sheet, let B11, we're going to put the sum of this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So first you need to put here the single quote and then the equal sign and calling the sum. You can use this one, sum, and the range from B6 to B10. Oops, B10. Okay. Now, if you want to add the information in the or let's say sheet, this is A10 or A11, I mean, we're going to put here the information like total amount. Okay. Right now, next is we're going to save it. Save, and then your file, where do you want to save it? Let's say I'm just going to copy this one. This is the file that we're going to use. Where do you want to save it? Okay, let's say I'm going to put this as demo 2. Okay, now if in case that we want to apply some heading on top, you can just simply add some information, but if not, it's okay. So let's try to run this one first. Let's save this, and I'm going to save this in the same file, or I can just save it here anyway. Let's try to check. Excel 2 or 3, whether we get the problem. Oh, I forgot to say successful send. So successful now. Let's try to locate this file, sample demo 2, under this folder XLS. Yeah, open this Excel. There you are. That's the type, total amount. Okay, there you are. So if you're going to verify with the same, okay, it's the same. You have question? Yes, Fernandez. Go ahead, you're raising your hand.
Depende ra, ma'am.
Okay. So here, take a look on this one. This is what we did. Okay. Total amount we put here in this column. And that's the time that you can add the styling. If you want to add some styling, then you have to insert the font styling. So you can make it this one bold, merge. And we want, although we sum only this range and we have this output. Okay, just have to include it under single quote. Okay. So if in case that you want to add the sum up, let's say in the other part in column C, then let's say I'm going to put here C11 and I want to add only the B6 to 7. Yeah, let's like to save this and close this again. don't save, then run. Okay, successfully. Then let's try to open now. There you are, 4010. Okay, that's simple as that one. There are actually more things that we can do using the Python. Okay, that's just the beginning. There are more methods that we can apply. So do you have questions so far? Question?
None so far, ma'am.
Did you understand our topic for today?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Any more clarification?
Ma'am?
Do you have any clarification?
Ma'am, mangutana ra ko kung may may online IDE ba ni para sa paghimo ng PyXL?
Okay, we will try using Replit and coding rooms, but you need to explore. You can go to Replit, this one, and for the existing file, you just have to what they call this one, add the file name, and you can actually upload, say, Replit Python. Let's say this one, Replit.python. You can actually add what they call this one, the file, the Excel file in there as well. Same thing with the Jupyter. There's also in online Jupyter Lab. Okay, you can also explore the Jupyter. Let's say you type here Jupyter, then Python, which is an online version. Try browser option. You can also use this one. Okay, Jupyter. Okay, for the Replit, you need to add the file in here so that you can manipulate it. Okay, by default, let's say for this, that we're going to add this one in here into our code. So we could no longer use the drive C. Instead, you have to remove the exact file, and the file should be added in here. Okay, you can add the file or upload. Let's try to check whether we can upload from here. Then copy. Okay, let's say let's try to run whether this one works using the open option. There's something different. It's trying to connect, so it tries to check whether openpyxl is available. Okay, so for that case, you're not going to put the C or Z drive. You just simply put in the file name. For now, it's still reading the dependency. So same here in the Jupyter as well. When you create your program in here, let's say I'm going to create a new one. New. Okay, let's say what do you want to create. Here, you have to add also your file. Let's say sample demo. It should be added as well here, so that when you run, okay, let me close this one and let me just copy the code. Okay, when you copy it here, you're not going to put the C colon, but instead just the file name. Okay, so when you run, let's say current successfully save, like that. Let's say if you want to open this here, it would look like this, and you cannot open directly unless it is a text file. That's the only limitation. You cannot open Excel file directly here. But if you're going to run this one using the Jupyter, okay, it says here that no module import. So this is now the limitation. Open. Okay, let me try to import. Oh, no, not this one. Hold on. Let's say, did we use the openpyxl? Workbook, the uppercase work. Maybe we need to import first. Let's try whether it works. Do we still have time? I think we have no more time. So if we will use this, let's try to run again. So this is now the limitation, because you need to install first in this Jupyter Online. But here in the replay, if you noticed, let's say, let's try to print so we can see whether it's successful. Save. Okay, let's try to run again. Successfully saved. So it means working in here. But of course, this part, you cannot see or open the file directly. You need to download. The things that you can only open here are the text file or the CSV. But for the Excel file, it cannot be. However, when you create this format, it can run. All you need to do is just download the file to check whether it has, or you can see, you cannot open it, or just simply download instead. Let's say I'm going to replace this with 4,000. Let's try to check the changes. This is 3,000. And run again. So this is successfully saved, and you can also download this one to check. Let me try to open this file. Hold on while I'm trying to open this file. Okay, I think got corrupted. The download is not properly. It's actually corrupted. Okay, save it. Based on this output, okay, if you notice here, it's already in here. There's a return. Unlike in the Jupyter, it looks for this one. An openpyxl, it has to be installed first in this option. Okay, this one doesn't work. It works this way. You can actually explore it. This one, you can download it. You try to check also in your PyDroid whether it works. But what important is, if you're going to try some additional message just to check whether it has an error, then you just have to simply type successfully saved or whatever. You can also apply here the exception option. Okay. Even in JDoodle, let's try. But and the online thing, like this one, cannot open directly. So you need to download it first if you really want to open the file. And same approach, you just have to try and explore. Okay? Are you still there?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Okay. You just explore the different ideas that I showed to you and try to work out and perform for you to see as well. Okay? And the reason why I'm trying to show this to you, the different option, because you might know you will be working as a Python programmer or data analyst, then you can use this command, the openpyxl, at least you know, using a desktop, because soon when you apply for a job and you have your PC or on laptop, you know how to manipulate it using this format. And the other way is also, the common one is either text or CSV file. For now, we just use the Excel file using this library. Okay, we can also try to use the basic one, which maybe next time I'll just discuss it to you. Because we did not display the output in the here. So normally, if we just use the command with open or open, the output is normally will appear in here. Okay, and in this approach, using the existing library, it really manipulates the Excel file. Can save and store. But the other way around, using the command either with open or just simply use open and then specify the file what you want to open, then include the read, it will display here on the shell. That since our purpose is actually manipulating directly on the Excel file, store and save it there. Okay. Since it's already time, do you have any more question?
Wala na ako, ma'am.
How about the others?
Wala na po.
Okay, so if none, then I guess you can turn on now your camera for our screenshot for today. Alright, turn on now your camera.
Ma'am, guba ang camera sa phone.
Why?
Guba ang camera sa cellphone, ma'am.
Oh, pero why, yay. Sayang. Minus points. Okay, you do the screenshot as well. I mean, paste it in our group chat so that that's it. It proves that you attended the class for today, okay?